Good morning, everyone. Welcome to LisaBug Yin Yoga. In the month of March, our focus is finding length. That's our theme of the month. So all of our classes on Thursday morning will be in a Yin style. So what I want to make sure is that you are warm. So I've got a little extra layer on, maybe even socks. You can wear socks because we're not going to be doing things that are balancing or down dog, things like that. So you don't need to worry about slipping. Just get yourself nice and comfortable and warm. I have my yoga blanket for some propping and comfortable positions. I also have my yoga block and strap. And today I also have a wonderful book. This was given to me by my dear friend Rani Ramaswamy, who I've been training for many years. My birthday is this month, and we share a birthday month. And so she gave me a wonderful birthday about the myths of the asanas. And Rani comes from India, where she knows many of these myths. And so I'm going to share just a little excerpt from my book today while we're in a pose and holding. So just come to a nice, comfortable seat. You can prop yourself up onto a blanket or a cushion. And find length in your spine. Find the breath. Maybe close your eyes for a couple of moments. Sometimes when we close our eyes, it removes distractions from the world around us. And I would like you to be in a little internal bubble for the next 1 hour, just you and the pose and the breath. And there's many styles of breath we can use in Yin Yoga. We can use the sinking breath, where we inhale a count of maybe 3 or 4, and we exhale twice the length of the inhalation. So maybe just try that for the next few breaths as you bring your awareness inward. As you notice where the breath moves in and out of your body. So while you are breathing, I'll describe to you a little bit more about Yin Yoga. So Yin Yoga is sometimes referred to as yoga for the joints because the poses are held longer, and as we stretch the muscle fiber, we also lengthen and stretch the connective tissue and the fascia that surrounds the joints. So our poses are held at least a minimum amount of 2.5 to 3 minutes today, maybe longer. So I want you to be in tune with your body. If you feel like you need to come out of a pose sooner, take a break on it, reduce the intensity of that, really be mindful and listen to your body. If a pose doesn't feel good, feel free to modify or take something different in the moment that works better for you today. So the principles of Yin Yoga are to find your edge. And the edge is not this really intense maximum stretch. It's an edge where you know you can hold that stretch about that 3 minutes time. It takes some time to find that edge, and that will be different in each pose that we do. Once you find your edge, the next principle is to remain still as best as you can. Now, you might have a little itch. Try to reduce the urge to scratch. Just stay in the pose and breathe. So we'll begin today in child's pose. And sometimes child's pose is super relaxing for people, sometimes not so much. So for me, I like to bring some padding to my knees and take my knees wide. And if you can't sit your hips back on your heels, sometimes it's nice to prop your seat up with your yoga block. If you can't reach your head to the floor, sometimes taking your yoga block and propping up your head is nice. So I want you to just find that comfortable child's pose for you today. And find the breath into the back side of the body, into the ribs, And just let your body be heavy and relaxed. Begin to find that sinking breath, or maybe even the ujjayi breath, the ocean breath, the whisper breath, where we feel and hear that constriction in the back of our throat as we breathe. So as you're holding child's pose today, I just want to read you a little excerpt from my myths of the asanas today. So these are myths. They're not true stories, but we can use them sometimes to parallel our own lives. So the child's pose is all about surrendering our ego, surrendering into this pose and coming back to our childhood and to our youth. And this book says oftentimes children are the best teachers. It is said that yoga is actually very easy and very difficult at the same time. And we can see that through this pose. It's very simple, it's very easy, but sometimes very difficult if we have issues in our knees, our hips, or we just have a hard time being still. It is simple because the only thing we need to do is stop clinging to our ego. But that is also one of the hardest things that we can do, given the subtle workings of the ego, which we continually reinforce. Yoga is usually regarded as a practice that liberates us from the ego. At the same time, it binds us to the divine through love. And this is what the child's pose symbolizes. It's like the childhood surrender to the divine that opens up the pathways of grace. We do often not realize this enough and take many things for granted. The ground we stand on, the air we breathe, but it may all be taken away from us at any moment in time. And then surrender is all that is left to us. In surrender, we truly open up ourselves to receive and also to give. Balasana, or child's pose, invites us to cultivate this childlike quality. So let's bring that with us today through our Yin Yoga practice, coming back to that childlike quality, surrendering into each and every pose, and letting go of our ego, letting go of any competition in our body today, just being who we are today in the moment. So let's prepare to come out of that child's pose, slowly pressing yourself up. Once you come to your knees, sometimes they feel the need to stretch out the legs a little bit. So from hands and knees, just extend your right leg back and bring it in. Extend your left leg back and bring it in. Now right leg, left arm, spinal balance, and bring it in. Other side. And we'll alternate that twice more. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to lower. Breathe in, reach. Breathe out. One more time each side. Nice neutral pelvis and strong core. And then round your back up into cat, tuck your tailbone under, release any tension in your spine. And then reverse that, dropping the belly down, lift the tailbone, gaze forward. Just an easy cow pose. And then coming back to neutral spine. So we will transition to half butterfly for our first really good stretching pose. So I'm going to take my blanket so that I can have a seat. And our yin poses are called different names. They're a little bit more Western term names than the Sanskrit terms. So we know butterfly pose is Baddha Konasana. So we take a half butterfly by tucking the right foot to the left inner thigh. Let this knee relax. If you need some support under that knee, you can take your block here and prop it up just a little bit. And then we'll use our yoga strap and place it under the bottom of that left foot, the ball of the foot. And really sit up tall to begin. And we'll take our time to find our edge today. So with a nice big inhale, lengthen the spine, then exhale and bring yourself forward. So to stay true with our timing and our poses, I'm going to go ahead and use my stopwatch so that I don't get along to talking and hold it longer on one side than another. So we will be here for 3 minutes in half butterfly. So our principles of Yin Yoga are to find our edge, but that edge may change as we hold the pose a little longer. We might feel we can go a little bit deeper over time. Or maybe we can let go of our prop altogether at some point and reach out under the bottoms of the feet with the hands. Now again, in that 3 minutes time, if you're feeling any pain or discomfort, and you need to take a break on that stretch and bring yourself up, maybe roll your shoulders back a couple of times, do what feels best for you, and come back into that pose when you're ready. Find the sinking breath, inhaling through the nose, exhaling twice as long, either through the nose or through the mouth, or through a constricted throat for the Ujjayi breath. Both of these breath styles are really relaxing. They send a message to our nervous system that says this pose is safe and we can relax in it. We're just over halfway mark in our pose. Try not to let the mind wander, and sometimes that can happen. That's our reading material today said yoga can be easy and at the same time it can be hard. And sometimes it's mentally hard more than physically hard to hold these poses and to stay present. So we can use that technique of finding the breath, even if you need to count the breathing so that you stay present in the pose. Notice the sensations in your body. What are you feeling in this pose? Where do you feel the stretch? We have 30 seconds. One more nice deep breath in. Exhale slowly and completely. And then rise up from the pose. And we always take just a moment to be still and notice how our body feels. There's always some residual sensation of that lengthening of the muscle as it tries to return back to a resting length. So we'll take our time to come into the other side, extending the right leg out, bending that left knee into the inner thigh. I'm a little tighter here, so I want to bring that block into support. That helps to relax the muscle. Reaching for your yoga strap, take a nice breath in, stretch up. Long spine, exhale forward. And start to slowly find your edge. There's going to be noticeable differences oftentimes from right side to the left. So that's where we need to let go of the ego, let go of any competition, let go of any expectation, let go of any past history in your life. You might be saying, gosh, I used to do this a lot better. But that's not positive self-talk. So it's better to say, wow, I am really in a good place for my body today. This is good that I'm working on my flexibility. I'm moving towards lengthening those muscles, releasing tension, releasing stress. Come back to the breath. Once you've been there a while, you might be able to sink a little deeper. And notice where the breath is moving. It's hard to breathe into our belly when we're folded forward. So try to breathe into the back side of your body, into the sides of your ribs. And even though our belly is compromised from breathing, try to still take deep breaths, long and slow breaths, with longer exhalations. Notice if you're tensing any muscles. And sometimes I say that to you because I all of a sudden realize I'm shrugging my shoulders or clenching my fists or jaw. So just do a little scan of your body head to toe and see if you're clenching anywhere. And we have 45 seconds left in our stretch. Now, if you are tuning into this later on YouTube and you want to hold these poses longer, feel free to hit the pause button and just remain there, especially if it's a stretch that's really, really needed for you in your body. And one more final breath here. Exhale slowly, completely, and rise up. And you can close your eyes here for a couple of breaths and just notice what you're feeling in your body. Let those sensations start to dissipate. And then we move into full butterfly. If this knee needs to straighten out a little bit once before you bend both knees, you can give your legs a little shake. And then we'll bring the soles of both feet together. Let your knees open. Now, if you have props at home, a couple of pillows you can tuck under your legs, that's great. Also, if you have your block, you might want to bring it in front of you or up on top of your feet so that you can relax your head. So you can place your elbows up on that block. Also, if you have a small chair at home, you can just bring your hands up on top of your chair and your forehead so that you can relax here. And we're in this pose for 3 minutes. So depending on where we're tight in our body, this might be more in the outside of your hips, more in the inside, the groin, the hip flexors, the adductors, the inner thighs, maybe in your lower back. So there's always a couple of rules of thumb with these poses. For me, I tend to go towards whatever feels best for your body. If you're feeling any back pain, I'd rather have you do this pose with a straight back and just hinge forward without rounding your spine. or maybe even sitting up tall and just letting your knees fall open. If your lower back feels okay with rounding forward a little bit, it's not a bad thing as long as you're not feeling any back pain. You can curve your spine, find some length in that lower back region. Breathe into your shoulder blades. We're halfway through our pose. The nice thing about using our block as a tool is it has 3 heights. So maybe we start with our elbows on the highest position of the block. And over time, as we release those muscles, we can flip our block to the different positions and maybe take it down just a little bit more. And it's not necessary to support your head, but it certainly does allow you to relax your neck a little bit more and to surrender into that pose a bit more, to find your edge a bit deeper. Just 30 seconds remaining. Taking one more slow breath. Exhale. And slowly coming up. Just noticing. Notice where you found length in that butterfly pose. Then if we extend both legs straight forward, this is called caterpillar in our yin practice. So caterpillar is a forward fold. As best as we can, we want to find support. So if you have a pillow you can lay forward onto, or again, the top of a chair, or maybe using your block here to support your forehead. Or you can also just take your strap, place it under the bottoms of your feet, and pull yourself forward. Yeah, and we will hold our pose 3 minutes. Now, some of us are really tight in the hamstrings. If this is you, I like for you to maybe roll up a towel and place it under your knees. So your knees have some bend in them, but they're supported. So you don't have to hold that bending on your own. So that's a nice technique to use. And the same thing holds true as in butterfly. If you're feeling lower back pain, I'd rather you have a straight back and just sit forward with a long spine, or sit up against a wall. If you're really tight in your hamstrings, you can just be here. But if your lower back feels okay with it, gently curve your spine forward, rounding your back a little bit, like a caterpillar with a little hump in his back as he's creeping along. And breathe into the back body. Now this pose can be really tense in the backs of the legs. So try to really release tension, relax those muscles. We should never find any shaking in these poses. That's usually a little bit of an alarm system that the receptors in our muscles and tendons are firing, trying to protect us from overstretching. And we have 1 minute remaining to hold. If you need a break, give yourself permission to take it. and then come back when it feels okay for you. Our yin poses help us to find patience, to hold and try to be still, and just to breathe, keeping our mind and our awareness on our physical body, on the breath. And one more generous inhale. And as we exhale, come on up. And let's just take a small twist to the right side, look over the shoulder. And then to the left. And we'll come back to center for half dragonfly. So half dragonfly looks very similar to half butterfly, but we'll take our right knee, tuck it in, but instead of this left leg forward, this leg goes out to a comfortable position. So now that thigh is abducted, our body is still squared straight forward. So we will bring that heel any distance that feels comfortable to you, either close to your groin or a little bit further away. Again, we can support here with our block. We'll take a breath in and exhale and reach forward. So some of those same props I talked about. A chair is nice to support yourself. We can also bring our block here to the front to place our elbows on, to relax the head. Is it a problem to have no props and just be here kind of hanging in space? No, as long as you can relax. For that 3-minute duration. So this brings that stretch a little bit deeper into the hips, into the inner thighs. Come into that sinking breath. Everything relaxes, especially on the exhalation. Now I have the left foot flexed, pulling it up because this does increase the stretch here, but you can relax your foot or even point it if you're feeling that flexing your foot is tightening up the muscles and not allowing you to relax. So that foot position is entirely up to you. And just notice, where is your edge in this pose? Notice the difference between a gentle sensation of discomfort from the stretch versus any pain in your joint, in your muscles. So we shouldn't have pain in our body. So really stay in tune with what feels okay for you. And it's okay in a yin pose to say, gosh, I'm really not feeling much of a stretch. That's okay. We're finding length still in a place where you're not in pain. Maybe sinking a little bit deeper for our last few breaths in this pose. And one more breath in. Exhaling completely. And walking the hands in. And take a moment to check in. It's also nice to roll the shoulders back and to lengthen your spine each time we do a folding pose, because we tend to be hunched. So I like to bring those shoulders back, find a good alignment before we switch sides. So we'll tuck the extended leg in and the opposite leg out at a comfortable position. You can also take a little blanket, tuck it under your knee if you're really tight through that hamstring so it has some support, lift it. Bringing this heel anywhere you'd like, close to the groin or extended away. Take a breath in and exhale, coming forward. Use any props that you have to make your body feel more comfortable. So take your time to find that edge. Notice where you're feeling stretching. Back off if you're feeling pain. And stay mindful. So our yin poses are kind of somewhere in between a gentle stretching practice, yoga practice, and a restorative practice. A restorative practice, we will definitely make sure we're supported everywhere, and we might hold those poses of upwards to 8-10 minutes. So we're relaxed in these poses. In a yin practice, it's just a little bit more of a deeper stretch held for a shorter duration and still supported as much as we possibly can be. We're just a little over that halfway mark. Rescan your body head to toe for any tense places. And our neck and shoulders are one of the primary spots we'll start tensing up during a long held stretch. So if you separate your teeth just a little bit, relax your jaw, sometimes you can extend that relaxation out to include your neck and your shoulders. And we have 30 seconds remaining. Try to deepen the breath or maybe deepen the stretch. And one final breath in. And exhale. Walk those hands in and check in. Maybe roll those shoulders back and sit tall. Full dragonfly. So both legs go out into a wide leg stretch. For really tight hamstrings, maybe 2 towels or 2 pillows underneath your knees for support. The block can be here or a chair. And we'll take a nice big inhale up. And exhale, come forward. I'm bringing my hands or my elbows to my block to support the forehead. 3 minutes, if you can tolerate this stretch for that duration. Try to be still. Try to relax and stay present. Really expand the rib cage when you breathe, sending the breath into those intercostal muscles. As we continue, especially if you're using your block to support you, you might be able to lower it, find a deeper place. Now, if you're feeling pain in your hips here, it's a good idea to try a different position of your legs. You might close them in a little bit rather than being so wide. See if that helps you with any hip pain. You're halfway through our 3 minutes. Focus on the benefits of our yin practice, the benefits of finding length. Most of us have been very cooped up in our homes for the past year, and our flexibility has taken a toll on our body. We feel tight. Our shoulders feel hunched. We've been sitting in our chair more often at our computers. So this is wonderful for us to build this practice into our daily routine. And with about 30 seconds remaining, we can possibly deepen one more time. One last breath in. And exhale. Take your time to slowly walk up. Notice how your body's feeling. We'll take a twist to the right side. And to the left. And come back to center. Bring the knees in and bend them about hips distance apart or a little wider. And then just drop the knees over to the right for a little windshield wiper and to the left, just to let your hips relax and release. And then we will be on our back for the duration of class. If you need a little pillow for the back of your head, you can bring that with you as you come down. And we've got a twist coming up. So sometimes we need some props to support our knees when we twist. So I'm going to bring my blanket and my block over to the right side of my body, right side of my mat. And then we'll come down onto our backs. And then I want to take those windshield wipers one more time in a reclining position. So separate your feet wide, your knees wide, and just bring your knees from side to side. When we do this on our back versus sitting, we can get some more release into our lower back. And this will prepare us for our twist. So there's many ways that we can take a twist. We can simply just drop our knees over to the side. That's pretty much the more basic twist. We can bring our knees up to table and drop them over. We can do what's called a rooted twist. So if we do a rooted twist, we're going to cross the left knee over the right and maybe wrap our ankles around each other like we're doing eagle pose. And then we can drop our legs over onto our prop. If that's not feeling comfortable for you, then just take a regular twist, or we can hug the left knee into the chest and bring just the left leg over to your props. So I want you to find just the perfect twist that's best for your body today. And I'll bring our timer on, holding our twist for 3 minutes. So some things to think about in our twist is we want to have both of our shoulder blades planted into the mat. And if we're twisting our knees to the right, sometimes our left shoulder will lift up. So then we want to increase our props a little bit so that we're not twisting as deep and we can get those shoulder blades into the mat. Make sure your arms are relaxed and they're comfortable so they're at a nice relaxed position out from the sides of the body, or if that feels uncomfortable for your shoulder, you can just allow your left arm to relax over your belly or next to the side of your body. We can also turn our head the opposite direction from where our knees are twisting. So in this case, we would look over the left shoulder and then just relax and breathe. Many benefits of twisting. Very beneficial for our spine, as well as our digestive system. And for our mental health, twists are very relaxing. We can release tension and stress. And we are halfway through this twist already. Now it's very common for us to quickly find release in those tight muscles in our back, and we're able to maybe take a prop out and go deeper into our twist. So although in Yin we're trying to remain still, you can very slowly remove a prop to take that twist deeper. And then find that stillness. Find the breath. And stay in the present moment. And we have 30 seconds remaining. One more final breath in, and let's make this a cleansing breath. So inhale deeply, then open your mouth and exhale forcefully. And we'll slowly pick the knees up off of your props and take a moment to notice how your spine's feeling. Readjust to a nice neutral position on your mat. And then very carefully move those props over to the other side of your body. So we'll choose that twist that you'd like to do on this side. We can simply just drop the knees. That's a great twist. Bring them to table, drop them over. Take the right knee over the left, wrap into rooted twist. or hug the right knee into your chest and bring it across to your props. So take a second to settle in. Make sure you've got that left or the right shoulder down. So in order for me to do that, I'm going to have to really lift my prop up. It's so common to feel a lot tighter on one side than the other, because we are creatures of habit. We tend to do things in our life predominantly to one side. So if you think about, for instance, snow shoveling, we tend to hold the shovel the same way all the time. We don't typically reverse that. Or raking leaves, or vacuuming the floor. We always do it on the same side of our body. So we end up having some fairly substantial muscle imbalances, both in strength as well as flexibility. Now remember, here we can turn the head away from the knees over to that right side. Or if that feels uncomfortable in your neck or causes you to have tension, just keep your head neutral and really relax in those shoulders. Relax in your spine. Relax in your hips, your thighs. And then find that breath really moving deeply in and out through the ribs. That will help you to create a little bit more length in your spine. A deeper breath. And just about 60 seconds remaining here. Let your arms feel heavy. Now that you've been here a bit, perhaps you can deepen that twist, dropping your props down just a bit. Yeah, and one more deep breath in. Make this a cleansing breath. So inhale as deeply as you can. Open your mouth, exhale forcefully. Bring your head back to neutral, your spine back to neutral. And once you've realigned your spine, we'll do some gentle bridging. So press down into the feet, tuck the tailbone, just lift the hips up a little bit, and then lower them back down, coming back to neutral. So your pelvis is rocking forward, lifting, lowering, and coming back to neutral spine. We'll do that twice more. And then if you have your block, we will do a supported bridge. So we'll lift the hips up, tuck that block right underneath your sacrum. So we're not tucking it underneath our lower back where our spine is. It's under the broad part of our hips. If you don't have a block, just roll up your blanket, a little pillow or a cushion, and just tuck it underneath so that you can relax the hips. They're lifted but softened. None of the muscles are working. Now we can keep our knees bent here in our supported bridge And just relax. This gives us a little small inversion where the hips are slightly higher than the heart. Your block has 3 positions, so you can take it at any height that feels okay for you. So either knees stay bent or legs will lengthen out. So this is a little supported Shavasana, a little bit of a supported back bend with the legs lengthened. If you straighten the legs out for a little bit and that's not feeling okay for you, then just rebend the knees or take the block out from your hips. And we are here 3 minutes. So if we have the legs extended straight, we're going to feel a little bit more release in the hip flexors. Another option for that is just to straighten one leg, the other knee is bent, and maybe do that for 5 or 6 breaths. And then you can switch and extend the opposite leg for 5 or 6 breaths. There's a little bit of spinal extension here, which is nice after all of the forward folds that we did today in our yin practice. It counters just a little bit all of that flexion at the hip and gives us some extension. We're just about the halfway mark. If you have both knees bent, to relax a little bit more, you can also walk your feet a little wider and let your knees tap in to touch each other. That will help you to relax your thighs a little bit, to go into a little bit deeper place of relaxation. Come back to the breath, exhaling twice as long as the inhale. Just about 30 seconds remaining in our pose. And one more breath. Make this a cleansing breath for our third and final cleansing breath. Inhale deeply. If your legs are extended, rebend them. And we'll all press into our feet to lift off of your block or to your prop. Slide it out from underneath the pelvis. And then hug both knees right up into your chest. We'll circle the knees 3 times to the right. And 3 times to the left. Now we'll prepare to sit up. You can either roll to your side and press up with your hands, or hold behind your thighs and rock yourself forward just a couple times until you can get the momentum to come all the way up. And we'll come to a simple cross-leg pose with the spine long. Lift the shoulders up, back, and down. One twist to the right. And one to the left. And come to center. One side stretch to the right. And one to the left. And come center. One breath up, press the palms, draw the thumbs into your heart. I hope that you enjoyed your yin practice today, and finding length over this series of classes this month is going to be a wonderful experience in our bodies. I hope you can join me each week or tune into YouTube if you have to miss. So it is my honor and my pleasure to lead you through your practice today. The light and love and peace that resides within me honors the light, love, and peace in each of you. Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone. If you need to sign off, I'll see you in class next time. If you have a minute to join me for a little discussion, I'll take our recording off and we will chat and see how you're feeling today.